And welcome to the Trinity Grade 4 song, The Tulip Swing, which is in the current series of 2016 to 2019. So this is a nice blues with lots of interesting features. Great little second line going on in the bass, so we'll be looking at those kind of features. Quite a long song because there's repeats in it as well, so a good amount of work to be done to get through the song. Of course, being a blues, it's in swing time, so that's the way it's going to be played. If we just play a few notes from there. Yeah, just repeating some notes, but you're getting the idea of the swing rhythm. Remember that the song is in A major, so we've got three sharps: C sharp, F sharp and G sharp, and then there are accidentals that appear along the way, creating some lovely little chromatic runs. Maybe worth us just having a look at the first bar, just to get us an idea of how to look at a song like this if you're interested in just seeing how the bass line goes to start with, because the melody line you'll probably be able to play fairly comfortably. But let's have a look at that bass line. So we start off with A, then two A sharps, fret ones, and then a B. Okay, so there's your kind of chromatic run from A to B. Then we've got an F natural, okay, in the second bar. So always well worth just going through a few bars just to hear how that bass line runs. So perhaps let's do that. So it changes there, we've got a distinct change. So now you can hear that the bass line itself is playing a nice little tune on its own and giving a great support. Right, so let's go through. We'll play the first little phrase, which is in bars 1 and 2, and let me explain some of the fingerings that have been put down. There are different fingerings, of course we can work our own fingerings out, but the main aim of course is to keep the walking fingers going and not trying to play double fingers where you get a finger trying to immediately repeat a note afterwards. It's quite difficult in a swing rhythm to get your fingers moving fast enough to do that. So if I look at the right hand for the first part, we start with an M. We've got a C sharp with finger 3. We'll talk about that in a moment. So it's M, A, M for the C sharp and E's. So we've got M, A, M. And then it changes to I, M, I. Okay, and the reason for that is because it's just keeping a set of alternating fingers going, which is kind of comfortable across the strings. M, of course, for string 2, A, string 1, M again, string 2. Now, if you're going to alternate again, that means you'd bring your A finger down to string 2, which is okay, but then you're getting crossed fingers later on after that. So by going to I, index, M, I, it just means that we're alternating our fingers all the time. Yes, we're using 3 fingers, but no problem with that, and it's well worth doing. If you struggle with that by having the left hand there, take the left hand away and just try it as this. Just go M, A, M, I, M, I. Yeah, and you can just kind of just practice that with open strings. It's quite a useful technique to do. So let's have a look. Finger 3. The reason finger 3 is there is because later on, in the next bar, we're going to play fingers 2 and 4. Although I have seen people attempt different fingerings and quite successfully, so I'll show you those as well. So we start off with the first bar. See, I'm being nice and powerful on my bass line here. I'm not holding back on my bass line because I want it to have a good come through as well. It's not just an accompaniment, it's a nice little tune in its own right. Now, fingers 2 and 4, of course, that meant finger 2 was free to play that note there, that B. got finger 1 for F natural down to E. What I've seen some people do is play the last beat of the first bar, okay, the two A's, A and C sharp, sorry, and then just what they do is, should be A sharp of course, and C sharp, and then they just kind of bring finger 1 up. Okay, so that's okay, but now you've got to move finger 1 from the B to the F. It's not a problem in a song of this tempo, so don't get too worried about that. But if you want good practice to get nice transitions without fingers jumping around, it's fingers 2 and 4 is the best option. Okay, so I'll carry on from there. Now we've got F sharp, finger 1, finger 4 for the G sharp, and that allows finger 2 to prepare itself now to play the C sharp in bar 3, and that's the reason finger 2 was there this time. Then we get our A sharps again. Now, slight change. Again, I would suggest you use the fingerings here. So we've got a D and an F sharp. Yeah, A, M. M plays the D, and then index for the B, and then M again for the A, so that comes out as being like that. Then what I do, of course I move finger 1 down. In fact I used finger 1 on an A, and I think that's the reason I did that, is because then I just move finger 1 down to the G sharp. There's my run at the end, so G sharp. That's better, I'll get that correct. And then that takes us, of course, we've used fingers 2 and 4 for the F sharp and G sharp, big stretch there to get that F sharp in, and finger 3 now needs to come down to prepare itself for that. It's a little bit awkward, but it's doable at this tempo. So we've got a little repeat of those bars. Then our fingers 2 and 4, F sharp, G sharp. Now a slight change, so I've put my fingers 2 and 1 down. It's like a D chord really, but so I feel comfortable putting those fingers straight down. We've got high F sharp. Okay, so that's just a nice rhythm. Move finger 1 down, middle, but I play the D with my index finger, not the thumb as written in the text, because it's just convenient for middle G sharp, and then index finger to play the D, and then I can play the high A. Now here's a variation. You can use finger 2 for that A at the end of that bar there, bar 7, but I'm going to suggest that we use finger 4, okay? And the reason is because after that A in bar 8, finger 4 is suggested to play the A, finger 2, the E flat, fret 1, of course, of string 4, the D string, low F. Okay, so my finger 4 was there ready and waiting. Okay, so that means I can just go swap finger 2 to the G sharp. Yeah, and I've got E, D and G sharp. Okay, so just a nice transition in time going da, da. Okay, probably a radical variation really for some people. If you kind of see the finger 2 on the A, you want to play that. It just means that then you've got to move the whole hand and the fingers by playing the A, the E, A finger 4. That means now that I can just go and swap those fingers around. So I hope that's just a little useful addition to what's written in the text. But of course, like most things, you can find your own fingerings, but don't try too many different ones. Just try the ones that keep it easy for you. The first section repeats again, of course, but we have a different ending from the first ending. So we get the same again, 2 and 1 go down. This is bar 9. There's my G sharp, index playing the D now, E, A, bass run, finger 1 plays the B, finger 2 plays the B sharp, which we know as note C, but we'll call it B sharp, because we're going to C sharp afterwards. So we get, and then that leads us into the second half of the song, which I'll do on the second video of this song, The Tulip Swing.